Hi, welcome to Ocean Yemi's channel, where we talk about, we react, we do reviews, we do other videos on. Please subscribe and tap in and let's have a conversation. Let's talk about what's going on, what's big, what's bigger, what's going on in this time, and you know, and if you do enjoy it, please stick around and let's continue our conversation. Okay, take care, bye. Hi, welcome to Ocean Yemi's channel, where we talk about, we react, we do reviews, we do other videos on. Please subscribe and tap in and let's have a conversation. Let's talk about what's going on, what's big, what's bigger, what's going on in this time, and and if you do enjoy it, please stick around and let's continue our conversation. Okay, take care, bye. Hi, so today I'm going to do on autism. Now, Planet Mimi had a link of this young lady that had undiagnosed autism for a very long time. However, she is a very successful lawyer as well. So what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be doing it in a way so that you can hear her story, and then I'm going to lead into other things because there is a lot of children that's getting diagnosed with autism, and probably some adults have undiagnosed autism. Like they call it a so-called illness or whatever, or mental illness, but I don't think it's a mental illness. I just think it's a kind of a chemical imbalance or something that's going on with the child, if I could say that. But if you know more about autism, please come underneath the comments and comment about having an autism child or being undiagnosed as an adult, because like it's not everybody gets it undiagnosed. I think in the 90s maybe and earlier it probably was seen as being different, but nowadays there is ways to deal with it because there's groups, there's a lot of organizations that deals with autism and autistic people. So I just thought I'd put this out as awareness, really, as part of awareness. I know autism. There's an autism day as well, so I find it's very important that I put this out because it's one of those things where like I feel that it needs to be spoken about because though some people do actually manage to live with it, there are some that don't, and sometimes, as this lady would explain, sometimes it's due to environmental or certain things that's happened in their life, whatever, you know what I mean? So I'm going to play this young lady and then I'm going to take it from there. I'm not going to rush it. I'm going to take my time with this one because I want to make sure I've covered a few bases. If I haven't covered, if I missed anything out, please let me know in the comment section. If I missed anything out, I will listen because I feel it's important to learn, you know what I mean, about these things, you know, about certain things that people don't want to talk about. Autism is one of them. And in the community, it was seen as being different, or you're different, or you're this, or you're that. Like, so I'm going to play the young lady. Hold on, let me just get this going. So I'm going to get the young lady playing. Okay, so here we go.
Social personality disorder.
Okay.
How do I mean, for a friend or somebody that's meeting you, how does it play out?
Uh-huh.
How is your behavior different than a normal person?
Okay, so from what I was told by like therapists and psychiatrists, my brain works differently than a normal person's brain. I have a neurodivergent brain. A normal person has a neurotypical brain. Um, so for me, being a neurodivergent person, I see things differently. And that, like with the autism, basically, like I'm just like, I don't understand body language. After I was diagnosed at 25, I started reading books on body language and watching YouTube videos on body language, because for 25 years, like I was just going around not understanding body language, not knowing how to communicate with people. I was severely bullied in school. I grew up in the early 2000s. So nowadays there's like a zero tolerance for bullying. But back then, I used to get spit on. Kids used to throw me downstairs. They would call me like a stupid N-word, stuff like that. Um, so yeah, I was like, I was bullied uh, because I had autism, but I didn't know that I had autism. So I was thinking, like every single day, I was thinking, like, what is wrong with me? Like, why am I so stupid? Like, why can't I understand people? Um, so that's like, so that with the autism. So with the antisocial personality disorder, um, because my only coping mechanism for dealing with my autistic behavior was suppressing my emotions, um, I would stare at people because I didn't understand people. And I would try to like mimic like what other girls were doing. And they would look at me like, what the fuck is she doing? And that was just me trying to be normal. But I was failing, obviously, because I got bullied. But yeah, like when people think of antisocial personality disorder, they think of like Dexter. I'm not like Dexter. When people think of autism, they think of like Sheldon Cooper. Um, Maybe I'm a little bit like Sheldon Cooper. But like girls like me, like when I was younger, I was a know-it-all, but like I learned really quick that I could not be a know-it-all because I would, it was just like who do you think you are? You know, like even like I would read the science book and I would read ahead of the teacher, and if the teacher got something wrong, then I'd be like, oh, actually it's deoxyribonucleic acid. And they just like look at me like, you know, like I'm the teacher, you're the student, like. But yeah, I had to like pretend to be like dumber than I was in school because I didn't want to get bullied, and the teachers thought I was annoying. So yeah, and that's like now that I know that I have autism, I'm kind of like jealous of autistic men because they seem to be way further in life than I am because they were diagnosed as a kid. They were able to get like the support and the help that they needed as a child. And I know, well, I'm not friends with them anymore, but I know two guys that had autism and antisocial personality disorder. One was in medical school, and the other one is a paralegal. Um, and I am unemployed. So yeah, like that kind of like infuriates me a little bit because I keep on thinking like, if I was diagnosed earlier in life, like who could I have like who could I have been, you know, like what could I have done with my life? Like who knows, maybe I would have been like a paralegal or like in medical school, you know. So yeah, like after the age of 25, I was like, okay, it
After you were
sucks.
diagnosed.
Yeah, after I was diagnosed, I was like, okay, it sucks that I have this, but like at least I know what's wrong with me, because I didn't know what was wrong with me. And then also, like my psychiatrist was explaining to me that sociopathy is on a spectrum, right? So when people say like, oh, sociopaths can't feel feelings, we can. I just view feelings through a cognitive lens. Like what is it called? I intellectualize feelings because I suppressed my feelings from the age of 9 years old to 25. So yeah, like I can't feel things as intensely as a neurotypical person would. So sorry, I'm trying to think, because like I didn't have anything like so I'm like, okay, what do I talk about next? So yeah, so can I feel feelings? Yes and no. So like okay, so this is a good example. So me and my friend, we were watching TV, and there's this like commercial with the dogs, right? And the dog has like one leg, and my friend is like, oh my god, like that's so sad, and wants to turn it off, right? And in my mind, like I don't feel that instant like, oh my god, that's so sad. In my mind, I'm like, the dog has 3 legs, dogs usually have 4 legs, it's probably difficult for the dog to walk around, that's sad. So like I have to like think about like feelings. I don't just like feel them. And that sucks, because like the only feelings that I've been like able to feel like intensely have been depression, loneliness, and anger. So like the only like feelings that I like I could say like I feel are like the bad ones, which is not something that I like, because I would like to feel happy. I would like to feel love. And like me and my psychiatrist at the time we were like talking about it. And like, I was like, I want to be capable of love. I want to know what love feels like. I've never been in love. But like, I'm not going to say, oh, because I have.
So basically, she has no feelings, no emotions, no connections. Her brain's wired up different to a normal person, so she cannot understand how love feels, especially if she's not taught or seen how love looks or what it looks like. I think that's what I'm getting from that.
Have antisocial personality disorder, I can't love, because like I watch like romantic movies, and like I wanna like feel that, but I haven't, and I'm 30 years old. So yeah. Sorry.
Are there doctors that have prescribed any are there medications even for autism? There's not, right?
So for autism spectrum disorder, there's medications to like deal with the side effects that come with like having that, the stress that comes with having that. But from what I know, there's no real medication for autism. And I don't think there's an FDA approved medication for antisocial personality disorder, because it's a personality disorder.
So you're not on any medications?
I'm on antidepressants. I'm currently on antidepressants, because I get depressed a lot. And this is another thing, so those girls in school, right? Like they'd be like, why is this bitch staring at me? Like, she's weird. And it's like, I was like trying to understand, like, okay, like how to be normal, how to fit in, right? Because I have antisocial personality disorder, like I automatically because I can't read body language. So like I have to like when I look at a person, I look at like.
So she's not able to read the room, basically. She cannot read the room. So she's standing there staring at you, and you're thinking, why is this girl staring at me? So some people take that as a challenge, as a fight. Why is that person staring at me? Oh, I'm gonna do that, blah 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 to her. She don't understand. She basically can't read the room. She doesn't get that how by looking at a person, it's like it's a challenge. You're challenging somebody, you know. And also, oh, she's not normal. Like, so she's seen as the geeky because she seems very clever. There's a few things that's going on with her, actually. It's not just the autism. There's a few things. I mean, antisocial one is one, but then she says she's got depression on top of it. So how do you deal with all that in all together? You know, having to take depression tablets but really, right, you have other thing going on.
Who they present to be, and then I try to figure out who they actually are, right? So like I'm psychoanalyzing every single person I meet, not because I want to. It's kind of like a survival instinct, because I was sexually assaulted as a child, not just once, but like multiple times. So like I I psychoanalyze everyone I meet, and I have to. But like when people like realize, well, I try to do it in a way that they don't like they don't know that I'm doing it like that. But yeah, like when people realize that I am like doing that, then they feel uncomfortable, they feel vulnerable. And like, I don't want people to feel like that around me, but like, what am I going to do? Like,
And that's sad that she was that happened to her. You know what I mean? That she got essayed. You know, she didn't really go in it. I mean, I played some women who spoke about it. Funny enough, I didn't even know this was going to come up because I didn't watch it before. But she doesn't go in it, and I feel that she wanted to talk about it, but she didn't talk about it because she's not there to talk about that in it. She's there to talk about the autism stuff. So I'm thinking, was this going to lead to her talking about that as well together? See, so there, like I said, there's a few problems there with her. It's not just one.
I have a hard time feeling emotions, like, and like there's such a stigma that comes with antisocial personality disorder, because when you hear the word sociopath, you think of criminals, you think of like killers. Like, I don't want to kill anyone, and I'm not a criminal. Yeah.
Do you have friends?
My roommate is my only friend.
Have you been in love?
No, I've never been in love. I want to be in love, but I've never been in love.
And how old are you?
I'm 30. Yeah. I made a TikTok, which is my only TikTok at the moment, because I was on a dating app and a guy called me a femcel, which is a female involuntary celibate, which is like a playoff of incel, right? And I was thinking about it, and I'm like, the only sexual experience that I have has been non-consensual. Like, and so like, am I a femcel? Like, but incels, they for them, it's just like, oh, I can't get any sex. You know, for me, it's like, it's not like obviously I'm female, like it wouldn't be hard to.
Hi, Planet. I had to look a bit more into this. What you put up on your community tab. This young lady, has so much going on with her, right? So apart from the autism, the autistic side, she got the antisocial, and she got the depression. Then she's got how people look at her as well. You know what I mean? And she just said that she was essayed when she was young. I mean, mind you, she doesn't go in it, but she but she's telling the rest of her story, so I'm gonna let her tell the rest of her story, because like I think I'm halfway through it, but I am gonna hit on the other stuff. I think what she's brought, I think that's gonna come up as one of the signs of autism.
To get that or whatever. But for me, like, I want to find someone that I can feel safe around, someone that can be understanding of my disorders, the autism and the antisocial personality disorder. And I have not found that, because guys think like, oh, you're crazy. And they just like don't want to be with a crazy person. And it's not that I want to be crazy. I obviously don't want to be crazy. And I try to hide my crazy very well.
You're just unique and different.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, like I can't, I have to, what's it called? I have to look at feelings. Like I have to think about feelings. I don't just like feel feelings. And that's very stressful, that it just doesn't come naturally to me. And it's very annoying that when I tell people about my disorder, they automatically ghost me because they think I'm going to manipulate them, or they think that like I'm capable of doing like bad things, because they're like, oh, well, if you can't feel, like, how do I know that you're not going to stab me? And I'm just like, well, I'm not going to stab you because that would be a bad thing, and I'm not a bad person.
I think antisocial personality disorder gets a really bad name because everyone thinks you're out to stab or kill them.
Yeah, and I get it. No, you know what? Now that like I understand where people are coming from, like I get it. Like if someone is like if I was a male, I would probably be addicted to drugs or I'd be dead. Like honestly speaking, if I was a Black man with the same disorder that I have now. Yeah, because like look, when I was living in New York City, one of my hobbies was people watching. And that, like, most people would be like, that's creepy. But like for me, that's how I learned to like to be normal, by watching people. But people don't like to be watched. So yeah. Yeah.
But what is the hardest part of all of this for you? Just the loneliness?
The loneliness is the hardest part, because, and then when people think of loneliness, they think like, oh, like you want a boyfriend. Like, no, it's not just that. It's the fact that even like girls don't feel comfortable around me, because like as a women, as girls, like I feel like we're automatically like nurturers and empathetic and stuff like that. And so like the fact that like I have to think before like being like, to me, empathy is cognitive. Like I have to think, like I don't treat people the way that I would want to be treated. I treat people the way I think they would want to be treated. So like there's so many steps when it comes to empathy for me, because it doesn't come naturally. But like I refuse to be labeled as someone that can't be empathetic. So like it's very, very difficult. Very difficult. So the loneliness is a huge thing that is making me depressed. That's why I'm on antidepressants, because I'm 30 years old. I have no boyfriend. I have no friends. My family even feels uncomfortable around me.
Are you working?
No, I'm not working. And that's another thing. Like,
oh yeah, by the way, her name's Kofi. This young lady's name is Kofi, okay? And it's a shame that how the family don't feel comfortable around her, like, or they're not able to work with her or understand her or work it out with her, because she's very articulate. That's one thing I think me and Planet can agree with. She's very articulate. She's telling you the complete picture. She's not giving you half of it. She's not giving you a quarter of it. She's actually giving a great description of who she is by referring to Sheldon, because Sheldon and I forgot the other person, where they correct people, and it's really sad what she's saying to me. I feel that's what touched me more to make me do this live about her more, because, well, this part of it more, because you never know someone's story, right? You never know their story. You never know the complete story about the person. We see people who pass them like ships, and we don't know what is going on. There can be 100 million, 50,000 things going on with them. Autism is one part of it, but then there's like six other things going on. And him asking her about having a boyfriend, okay, well, I mean, like, most women her age is easily so-called married, got their children or whatever, and maybe it's just her awkwardness what stops that from happening. Maybe when they come across her, they don't know how to deal with her, and unless you are around an autistic person, I'll say on a daily basis, even though like you can learn about it and you can tell signs about it and stuff like that, where like the man who gets with her now, right, he wouldn't think it's a challenge. You wouldn't think, oh my God, she's just being funny. Oh, she's going to do me this because she's antisocial. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, I do feel for this lady in one sense, because I mean, the great thing about it, when I found out she was a lawyer, I said, wow, she's a lawyer? She's a lawyer. So through all these challenges in her life, she passed the bar. So, I mean, I'm saying, raw, like, that is a great thing. That is a huge thing. So to me, like, a man will come to her in time because of how she is as a person. All right. And I feel I'm going to learn more about her as I get through this live.
Like, it really, really sucks. Cause like my mom, she was like, oh, you were so smart in school. And it's like, well, yeah. Oh, well, actually, I can't say anything bad about my mom because I love her. God bless her heart. She's from Trinidad, and they don't go to therapists. You know, they don't like, so I can't be mad at my mom. She did the best that she could with what she knew at the time. So
you don't have kids, I assume?
No, I don't have any kids. Yeah, and I want kids. That's the thing. Like, in a perfect world, I would love to be.
Hi, Passion Lisa. And not only that, in the Caribbean community, right, they don't go to, it's not a thing. Like she said, it's not a thing. It's not spoken about. Oh, the child's different. Oh, that child's different. Like I said, back in the day, from when I remember coming up, they'll say, oh, that child's a bit funny, that child's a bit, they wouldn't look into it. Autism wasn't a thing back in the day. That was not a thing. Autism, dyslexic, all these other things that's coming out, that is not coming out, that's been around for a long time, wasn't a thing. So therefore, right, they would not look into it. Because if there's something wrong with a child, right, the family would discredit this push the child one side. You know what I mean? It could be any little thing, it could be anything. So what she says is true. In the Caribbean community is not about going to the shrink. That is not a thing. You'll never hear of that. They will never take their child to therapy. They will never they will quicker take the child to an old beer man or a juju man than take that child to therapy. They'll think, okay, something mystical about it, is something other than what it is. So that rings true for what she's saying right there. I know I just repeated myself, but whatever it is, what it is, isn't it?
be married with kids, have a bunch of friends, have a good job, be able to pick up on social cues. Like in a perfect world, I would love to not be labeled as a sociopath. Like that would be like amazing. And another thing too, I can't find a therapist to stick with me. So here I am, right? Like a diagnosed someone with autism and antisocial personality disorder, and I'm saying like, hey, I would like to find a therapist to help me because I'm having difficulty in life. And they see my psych eval, and the ones that are willing to help me, when we have a therapy session, like recently I had a therapy session with a therapist that dropped me, and like she basically said like it's so complicated and it's so much work to help you because like with sexual assault, because I'm a part of the reason why I'm also going to therapy is so that I can get help with the trauma that comes with that, because like as someone with ASPD.
Wow, she's like, I'm glad she came back. I'm glad it came, like, it literally made a 360-degree circle, came right back to the SA situation. Like, and that's another thing. That's another thing the community keeps under wraps. I mean, now it's coming out a little more, the SA thing that's going on, because that can also mess you up too as a person. So I love how it's just gone. It's when it started from that point and it's come back around again, 360 degrees around the circumference back to the SA.
I don't I didn't process the assault like a neurotypical woman would have. In my mind, I just said like, this person is a monster. They took advantage of me, and that's fucked up, right? But like my body, like I can compartmentalize it in my mind, but my body is still not over it, because sometimes like I wake up and my eyes are wet because I was crying in my sleep. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, like I don't want to be crying in my sleep. Like I need to get help. And I was talking to her about it, and she basically said that like she couldn't help me, and she referred me to like another therapist, because like she didn't know like how to go about helping me because of my personality diagnosis. Yeah. I don't even know if I said that right. I don't know if anything I'm saying is making sense. But yeah.
Have you had multiple therapists?
I have had several therapists.
Yeah, you're making sense, you're making sense. And maybe you needed a therapist that looked like you. Maybe that was the problem. Because a lot of people couldn't find therapists that resembled them, that looked like them, that understood them from the ground up, grassroots level, however level you want to think of. So maybe you had to go through loads of different therapists before you find that perfect one that fits you to help you through whatever you need to get through. But I'm very sad. I'm very sorry that how you went through that SA situation. I hope you told somebody. About that. Even later on I hope you told your mom, somebody. You know what I mean? Because people suffer in silence when that comes to that.
Therapist. Oh my God. I have had in my life probably about a dozen therapists in the past 5 years. That's a lot, right?
And your last one dropped you?
She did because like, and bless her heart, like she tried. but like I think she got a little creeped out because like I'm saying like this is affecting me, and she's like, well, how do you feel about it? And I'm like, well, I'm indifferent towards it. Like that person is fucked up, you know. But so it's like, how do you treat somebody who has to think about like emotions? How do you treat someone that doesn't just say like, oh, I feel like sad? Like I can say I feel sad, but for me, or I can say I feel depressed, but for me it's different because for most people they're like, oh, I feel the depression. For me, I'm thinking about like all the things that happen to me in my mind, and it's intrusive thoughts. So like it won't go away. So the thoughts won't go away, and because the thoughts won't go away, I'm either overeating or like watching Netflix and then waking up and my eyes being wet from crying in my sleep, or like sometimes I'm in the shower and like I just like turn on the hot water because I'm like, oh, I'm dirty. Like I need to be cleaned. So like for me, like feelings, they're different. They're different because like I view them differently. So and therapists don't know how to treat that. They're like, how do we go about helping you? And I'm just like, I don't know. You're the therapist. You tell me.
Is that the hardest part of these disorders? Is your inability to just straight feel a feeling?
So
you have to like process it and think about it. And
so I don't like, I'm not like a psychiatrist or whatever, but from what I was told from the psychiatrist that diagnosed me, is that what was your question? I'm so sorry.
No, it seems like the most difficult part of all this is that you just can't feel a feeling.
Yeah.
Like most of us would.
Yeah.
You have to process it and think about it. And maybe just do the math on it before you can express any emotions. Exactly.
And yeah. That's pretty much it. I mean,
but it was with a partner or a friend who can understand that, and maybe even has some similar behaviors. Maybe it could.
Oh my gosh! So I have to talk about this, but I don't. Can I say names or no? That's bad, right?
I can take them out. I'll take them out.
Okay, so I'll just I won't say their names because but okay, so with the Indian guy, right? The guy that went to medical school, right? So with him, like he was always calling himself a winner, and like he used his sociopathy like to get ahead in life, right? So it wasn't
when you say the Indian guy, did you refer to him earlier?
Oh, did I say his name?
I don't think you. No, you didn't. But
the two guys that I knew that had autism and antisocial personality disorder.
Oh, okay.
One was Indian, one was white.
Got it.
I don't want to say their names. That's why I'm referring to them by race. But maybe I shouldn't refer to them by race. I apologize if that's offensive. But yeah, like with him, like he used it to his advantage. So for me, it's a disability, but for him, it was like a superpower. You know, and the same thing with the dude that was a paralegal. Like him, like he used his sociopathy to his advantage, and he was very well. I don't know him anymore, well, because we don't talk. But like he was successful, and it just sucks because like if I were to lean into like those like dark triad traits, like because I have to take extra steps to not be a bitch and to not be an asshole, right? Because like as a female, like as a woman, if I leaned into my sociopathy, someone would either curse me out or like beat me up, because those traits are not like valued in women the same way they are valued in men. So Yeah. I'm so sorry. I'm rambling and
my I says, and it is also go both ways. Sometimes the therapist ends up being the one getting the therapy. So can you imagine you go to a therapist expecting the therapist to help you, and you end up being the therapist to the therapist to the therapist. Basically, like is in reverse when they're supposed to help you. That's what I'm saying, right? They are therapists that looks like you, that can help you. It's just finding the right fit, like with everything else. Like you have to find the right fit. If you don't feel comfortable within the in a place, because um from what I know of therapy, because I never had therapy, but I'm just saying, like, um, they supposed to help you through it. They're supposed to help you cope through it, right? They're supposed to find strategies to help you cope through so that you could be a better person, is life, society, whatever. So you come through. Really, right? You're not supposed to depend on them. Though people say like, oh yeah, well, I'm going to my therapist, like he's not. You're not supposed to depend. It's not supposed to be a dependent thing. You're supposed to go to them, improve what you got to improve, find a solution, some type of solution that you could come to, and then you're supposed to literally not really be dependent on them. So you're not supposed to be tapping into them every minute, tapping into them. That's why people go to friends now sometimes and they talk to their friends, because they find when they talk to their friends will tell them the truth as well, even though their friends might not be a therapist, but they might have a solution to their problem, so they will help them through it. Oh, why don't you try this, or why don't you try that? It's the same thing like when people is talking to each other, like groups settings are good as well. Like there's people like you where you can sit down, and I'm not talking about the AA group, because I'm sure there's groups that deals with autism. Like normally it's the carers, but if the person who's autistic, who's not, because I know there's many different types of autism. Okay, so I'm not ruling that out, but being that she is a bigger older lady, she's in her 30s. She's very, like I said, she's very articulate, so she can probably sit in a group of people that can help her, who right, where the group or whatever settings, because like there's all different settings. There have to be a sitting around in a circle settings. You can do different ways of doing it, different strategies, right? Because that's how it is with most therapies. For what I know, doing therapy myself, which is massage therapy, but then there's other therapies that can help a person, for them to understand because some people wants to know where they sit in the world, where they are placed in the world. If you don't know where you're placed in the world, you are totally lost. Some people find it later on in life, some people find it early on in life. And so I feel with this young lady, though she passed the bar, okay, and I want to stress that she passed the bar. She is a lawyer, okay, but then even though she's talking on this, I feel she is greater than her autistic side. You know what I mean? For her to pass the bar, because I know the bar ain't no easy thing. Okay, so to me, I give her props for that, and maybe she did find a solution as well, because we ain't reached the end of this yet. You know what I mean? So it could go any which way. So I'm hoping that she did find a therapist that fit her now, that guide her so she can be the best person that she can be, right? Because in the other picture, you see how she looks, right? Compared to the picture in the middle, right? So Kofi obviously blossomed and turned into a beautiful flower, right? You know what I mean? You know, like you have to plant seeds with people. You plant seeds and then they grow into beautiful flowers, right? Beautiful lotus flowers. And I feel that's how it is with Kofi. And she do have, I think she created an organization, but I'm not sure. So I ain't gonna say yeah, but yeah.
And I can't really like I forgot the question because I feel like
that's your autism.
Yeah, like, oh, I'm very forgetful because I'm constantly thinking. Like I'm like there are thoughts like going through my head like all the time.
What advice would you give to someone who's got similar problems as you?
Well, is this someone that is undiagnosed? There's someone that might think they have it, or someone that knows that they have it.
Any of the above.
The advice that I would give someone is to
not that you've solved all your problems yet.
Oh, I have a plethora of problems that have not been solved. But the advice that I would give someone is to try. I know it's hard. I know the struggle is real, but you can't give up on yourself. You have to try. You're more than your autism. You're more than whatever personality disorder you have. And that's what I've been doing. I've been trying so hard to be normal, like to be like a regular human. And I will try till the day that I die to not be like someone that like people look at and think, what's wrong with that person? You know, like I want to be like someone that can like go through society peacefully.
Everybody have a bit of quirkiness about it. Everybody on the planet have a little bit of quirkiness about it. Some show it out more than others. So even if someone looks at you and think, oh, what is wrong with that girl? Right? But then when they talk to you now, they see, oh, okay. They see beyond that quirkiness. Okay. So to me, like, her quirkiness is what makes who she is as a person. That's her characteristics. And that's who she is. And like I said, I like how she brings it to the positive side of it. So what did she say? She said that autism doesn't make you, it doesn't restrict you. You are more than your autism. And it's a shame. No, actually, I do believe that there are some autistic children who do actually go past who they are or who they're supposed to be. Their smartness taken on. They can do spelling bees, they can do this, they can do so many things. They can either become artists, they can become poetrists, they can become singers, because they can put all of that what do you call it, autism quirkiness, because I know I'm going to keep referring to the autism because this is what the live is about. Okay, that quirkiness was what gets them through. They become bigger than that, way bigger, right? So I'm going to let her continue because she's brought it back to the positive side of herself.
Because I've had people threaten to kill me, and I didn't.
Okay, now it's gone back to the negative side of stuff. Well, I'm going to listen more before I talk again.
All I was doing was being myself, basically, and they were uncomfortable around me, and they threatened to kill me. They threatened to beat me up, and like even like flight or flight like instincts I had to like develop over time. Like I had people, because I was getting beat up so much in school. Like people were just like beating the shit out of me in school. So like I don't know if I should talk about this. Can I talk about like really? Can I say like names and stuff or?
I would take them out if it's a problem. So.
Okay. All right. So so I remember that
just use first names anyway.
First names. Okay. So yeah. So like I remember I was so at some point in my life I was homeless. And I refused to be on the streets. So I went into a like shelter. It was like an LGBT shelter in the Bronx. And they put me in a room that was predominantly female. And in this room, the first night that I was there was this girl and she was super funny and she said a joke and everyone in the room laughed. And I was the only one that didn't laugh. So I decided, okay, I have to act normal. And I laughed. And then when I laughed, like everyone stopped laughing and they started staring at me. And then I left because I knew that it wasn't like a good thing. And then I came back like maybe like an hour or two later and there was trash on my bed. And I just cleaned the trash off and I went to sleep. And the next morning, one of the girls came up to me and she said, "You're a fake bitch. We don't want you in here." And it clicked that like, crap, they knew that that was a fake laugh. And because I'm always masking, because if I don't, then people feel uncomfortable. And when people feel uncomfortable, they might say or do things that they wouldn't do if they were comfortable. So yeah, so she called me a fake bitch. And I was like, okay, I'm sorry for being a fake bitch. And I stayed in that room for like a couple months and like the girls would curse me out. They would threaten to beat the shit out of me. And because like I kind of like, so for me, I was used to being bullied and abused. So one of the girls that threatened to, like, she came up to me and she was like, you know, threatening to beat the shit out of me. I was like, okay, just don't kill me. Because like, if you're going to do it, just do it. And then she took a step back and she was like, this bitch, she said, "This bitch is crazy. I'm not going to go to jail for your dumb ass." Right? That's what she told me. And then the other girl was like, "No, she's not crazy. She's a sociopath." And that was the first time anyone has ever called me a sociopath, was when I was in that shelter. And I was like, fuck, they know. Cause like I thought like I was doing my best to like pretend to be normal, because like at that time I was homeless and I didn't want to be on the streets. And so a week later, a staff member came to me and they said, well, the staff member basically said that the girl came up to her and said that I was making her feel uncomfortable and that she was scared that I was going to kill her. And she was the one that threatened to beat my ass. And I was the one that was saying, okay, beat my ass. Just don't kill me. But because I said that, and that's not something a normal person would say, she felt like weirded out or whatever. So they put me in a single person room, because I guess like I was like they didn't want me in that room anymore. And then the messed up part is like I liked being in that room, like I liked being around people. And then when I was by myself, like that made my mental health worse. But yeah, that's when I realized like, okay, I have to accept being by myself because I don't want to get my ass beat. But it just sucks because like people say that people with antisocial personality disorder don't have empathy. But then like, how are you going to say that and then not even be understanding or empathetic of the person with the disorder? And I'm trying so hard to be empathetic towards everyone that I meet, And I'm trying so hard to mask my autism, and people aren't trying to understand me at all. And yeah, and that's very, like, very it just like makes me angry. But like, I don't want to be angry, because the people that, like, if, like, the people, my people that are acquaintances around me, they're like, oh, she's such a nice person, blah blah blah. But the people that are close to me, they see the effects of like me having to, like, you know, mask all day, mask my autism, mask my ASPD, and then like I'm home and like I'm screaming and I'm crying and like I'm saying like, leave me alone, and like they're the ones like that have to deal with it, and it sucks, because like I wish that I had coping mechanisms to deal with it, to deal with like my issues, rather than suppressing my emotions. Because the longer that I do that, the longer that it will be that like, maybe one day, like, I won't feel anything at all. Like, sometimes I'm scared that, because when I was a teenager, there were days that I felt absolutely nothing. And it was like for a normal person, it's probably like when you wake up in the morning and you're sleepy and you're just like walking around. Like, that's how I was for, like, sometimes I'd be like that for days, sometimes I'd be like that for weeks. And it sucks, because I don't want to have autism, and I sure as hell don't want to have ASPD, but I have those things. And when therapists are afraid to take me as a client, it hurts and it sucks, because how am I supposed to become a productive member of society when I can't get help? And I'm poor. I can't pay out of.
Didn't I just say that? The therapist is supposed to help you to become a better person or a better being, so that you can function easily in society. It's just like, I feel her pain. I do feel her pain. I feel her hurt. There's no, like, you can just hear how she's trying to find that person to listen to her. So treating her like a leper. Like, oh yeah, she's weird. Oh, she's just a weirdo. I mean, fair enough. Now I'm hearing this from her now. I'm starting to look at what I say about certain people myself now. Okay. So she's very much expressed herself in a way that even me coming to see certain things differently, because like I said, people's quirky, people are awkward. There's more people more awkward than some. Some people don't go to learn how to cope with the awkwardness. You know what I mean? They don't learn to cope with that. That's that difference. You know what I'm saying? So I have met mothers who have autistic children, and they talk about how they have to work around them, how they have to make them functional when they go to school, how one I did meet where she said her son was so clever. He was doing 100 times table. I didn't even know that 100 times table exists. He was that clever. He was learning to teach himself languages. He was making timetable tables and making it bigger than what it was. You know how people just makes a small timetable tables. He was making it bigger than that. It was so, like they said, it came to a place that how he would go somewhere, and I think he was learning languages by himself. He self-taught himself languages. So that's what I feel. Yes, there is a lot of sides to this autistic side, this autism as they term it, because when women, I think women or men, especially black men and black women, when they get diagnosed, apparently it goes against them, and for some, it actually works for them. Right? They make it work for them, or their parents or whoever help them to make it work for them, and yeah. So this lady, like I said, she passed the bar. I think there is a bit. I think I've got a video on her talking about her being a lawyer and being autistic. There's quite a few of them who's passed the bar and who's autistic. So, yeah. So I'm going to let her play again.
Of pocket. The last therapist I had to pay $800. That was basically all the little money that I was saving up, right? So, yeah, like the struggle is real. That's basically it. I feel like I'm just ranting.
That's right. All right, Cassie, thank you so much for sharing your story.
Mm-hmm.
I wish you lots of luck.
Thank you.
Getting yourself and others to understand your problem.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Oh, Cassie. Okay, and I'm calling her Kofi. Okay, but there's actually one who's Kofi. So my bad. I got her mixed up, but she does look like the girl in the picture a lot. So I'm not gonna take that one back. Okay. So I'm going to also go to this one as well, because I feel this one's important. Let me see. Oops, wrong one. Okay, let's take her off the screen. Take off the screen. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, well, the melanated ones who go through or finding out about being on the spectrum before we hit on all the other stuff about it, the signs. How do you know the signs? How can you tell? What's he look like, especially for adults and particularly for children? The signs is more there, but for the adults, I think is different. So I'm gonna do this one here.
Repeat stacking, lining up his food. And so as a family, we decided that we needed to get him some help. We took her to the doctor, and I remember the doctor saying, I'm kind of concerned what's going on with Brianna. And they sent her to a developmental, psychologist, and she was diagnosed with autism. To be honest with you, I'd heard about autism. I didn't really know what it was. And I just remember, they do all these tests.
Hi, Miss Wise. How you doing?
And they call you in, and then they say, oh, by the way, your kid has autism. And I remember after I heard that, I didn't hear anything else. I just kept seeing his mouth move, but I couldn't hear anything because I was like, well, what does this mean?
So autism spectrum disorder is what we call a neurodevelopmental disorder, which means that it's a disorder that starts off at childhood and as the child is developing, and will mostly manifest by the time the child is in grade school.
Autism primarily affects a child's ability to communicate and relate to others. Other symptoms include a tendency to repeat words or actions and restricted and repetitive interests or behaviors. A child with a diagnosis of autism can have interests that seem very narrow or unusual, like lining up their toys or just staring at an object. They often insist on following specific routines, and small changes will upset them. They may be very sensitive to noise and experience other sensory issues. These symptoms of autism can range from severe to mild, and that is why doctors now call it autism spectrum disorder, or ASD.
You don't want to, at that point, say, is there something wrong with my kid? Is there a problem? And I think that that's a lot of what it was at the time, is that you hear these different words and they start putting on labels and you wonder how you're going to move forward.
And we just thought that was it. He wasn't going to get no better. He's been labeled. He's going to be in special education all his life, and he's going to be bagging groceries and saying, welcome to Walmart. And he's not going to ever be able to achieve the dreams that I had for him.
Looking back to when I first got my diagnosis, I wish somebody would have told me that it's okay to be scared and it's okay to not have all of the answers.
I still didn't know what I was dealing with and what I was supposed to do. And so I then went on this really massive internet search to figure out what it meant, what was the future gonna look like, what we needed to do and what I could do to help.
Only about 1/3 of the people diagnosed with autism have an intellectual disability. So it's not everybody. The remaining 2/3 have normal intelligence or high intelligence.
I was in denial. I realized I was in denial, and that it's okay. It's not a negative thing if they have this label that they learn differently.
It's a label, but it's not something that you should be ashamed about. It's not something that you need to be scared when you hear about it.
In the African American community, we want to say there's nothing wrong. He's going to be fine. We're just going to pray for him. Jesus will heal him. And we put it off until the child is 6 or 7 or 8 years old. And then all of a sudden we have behavior problems. They're acting out in school. They're fighting. They're biting because they can't speak and they can't participate. And the kids are making fun of them and they don't know how to deal with them. Well, by that time, you've lost 4 or 5 years of speech and behavior therapy and physical therapy and occupational therapy and giving this child the tool that he or she needs to succeed. And you can't wait.
The earlier you start, the better prognosis for your child. There are a ton of services out there. And so some of them, you're going to have to fill out a lot of paperwork. Start with the county case manager, and then they can open up the door to a whole bunch of different services.
There are services out there for them, and it is very important to get the child help, to be proactive, because the earlier you get the help, the higher the chances that the child will do better.
A lot of help is available for families with children on the autism spectrum. Families who are interested in receiving services for a child with autism should connect with their local county. They will set up an assessment and support plan, which will help identify what services and supports would be beneficial for your child. Service options may include behavioral treatment, waiver services, personal care assistance, occupational therapy, speech therapy, and educational services. Your child may be eligible to receive services through the Early Intensive Developmental and Behavioral Intervention Benefit, or Children's Therapeutic Services and Supports. Some of these services include one-on-one or group treatment sessions for your child, as well as training and support for the whole family. These services respect your values, culture, and preferences. Contact your county and ask for an assessment to see what kind of services you may qualify for.
Studies have shown that the child will learn ways to compensate for their deficits. So the earlier they start to learn the right ways to compensate for the deficit, the higher the chances of being functional. So this is why it is very important for the child to have a diagnosis. And the diagnosis does trigger the treatment. Treatment starting from school, the kind of accommodation they get in school, the kind of the services that the insurance company will pay for.
I learned about county services and ended up accessing what's called a developmental disability waiver through county services. Through that waiver, I was able to support my kid in accessing services that focused on speech therapy, occupational therapy, social skills instruction, as well as other activities that were able to support him in his whole being, such as musical therapy and taekwondo.
They get services at the public school. Then we do a little bit of behavior therapy, and then we do a little bit of speech, OT, and PT outside the home.
One of the reasons we moved back to the Twin Cities was because the state of Minnesota has a tax base, the state tax, to help fund public education and some of those needs for kids that on the spectrum. There are plenty of families that have multiple children on the spectrum. We just happen to have 3 now.
If you think your child may have autism, Disability Hub MN is a great place to start. At the Disability Hub MN, you can chat with an expert who will help you understand your options and get you connected to all available resources and services. Their experts will help you solve problems, navigate the healthcare system, and plan your next steps. Your local county may offer additional services you may be eligible to receive. These services can help a person with day-to-day activities in their home and community. Personal care assistance services include support with activities of daily living. This may involve assistance with meals, transportation, personal hygiene, and other daily activities. A person may also qualify for a waiver. A waiver provides families the freedom to choose the services they need and support their children in participating as active members of their communities. Talk with your county case manager or chat with an expert at Disability Hub MN to learn more about your options.
I signed up for a county case manager. So you go to your county, whatever county you live in, go to the Department of Human Services and sign up. And then they come out and they assess what your needs are. And so she qualified to have a personal care assistant, somebody that helps her with things like grooming, getting out in the community.
We ended up getting a PCA because that was something that was, so a personal care assistant that was good for him, but it was also good for us. It doesn't make you a bad parent that you're tired and that you can't do everything yourself.
There are places that can help you. Even your school can help you. There's someone at the school, a counselor or a social worker that should be able to break down some of the language and help you. There are services out there and programs for everybody.
So the early childhood intervention programs through the school district. So these are the programs that can start the child off on what you call an individualized education plan. So this is called an IEP.
Your local public school offers a wide range of special education programs and services. Your child's educational team will help you create an individual education plan, or IEP, for your child. Special education services are even available for students who attend non-public schools. If you have concerns about a developmental delay, we recommend that you contact Help Me Grow. Help Me Grow is an early childhood screening and intervention program provided through your local school district. Special education services like Help Me Grow can serve as a bridge while your child awaits access to other early intervention services.
I talked to the school. The school had already identified some learning issues. So I went to the IEP meetings at school. A lot of times parents don't go to those. A lot of my friends didn't go. I was like, I can't leave this to chance because her needs are so specific that they need to know. And I'm the only one that can tell them that.
My mom decided we should look for a different school that actually had teachers that were able to work with kids with learning disabilities and autism. So they were required to actually know about autism.
In the past, students would be removed from the classroom or they wouldn't be mainstreamed with other students. Now we have more intentional trainings and workshops and professional development.
So over here, they call it, is it SEN, S-E-N, workers that works with the student in the class that make sure that they do the stuff that they be in the class. If they get a little, behavioral goes crazy, they take them out of the class. I've actually seen this in my young one's school. They be in the classes while the teacher's learning, they'll be available. So I was looking at Brianna, I see certain things in her where I've seen in another person, but I said I ain't gonna bring her in on this one. But I see something in Brianna a little bit. But I like how Brianna's able to talk for herself. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna let it play. Oh yeah. So Miss Weiss said my brother was great with maths and memory with everything. A friend, her son is in university doing aerospace engineering program, so they can learn and exhibit and go beyond. That's what I'm saying. They can go beyond their. They can excel. They can go beyond their autism, because autistic people, like I said, is clever people. They are very clever. But there is different sorts of autism as well. But I'm gonna let this play because I feel that I don't know. I just felt that I need to play this video, but I see why I need to play it because it talks about services. I know there's services over here too, so I might include the UK one too. So I'm gonna let it play.
Development to show that it's okay for these students to be different and they learn differently. And hey, now we're giving you the tools to help you help these learners.
They worked on teaching kids social skills to, how to interact with each other, how to even play together. So she started to have friends, and I started to see her life change.
There are many organizations specializing in the treatment of autism that offer a variety of therapies. Given that each child is different and has different needs, the treatment plan and services may vary from person to person.
You as a parent, as a primary caregiver, you need to inform yourself or get access to information so that you can gain access for your child.
When you don't think you got the money to pay for private speech therapy because the insurance won't pay for it, there's scholarships and grants that'll pay for it. There's foundations that are set up just to give your child the money to go to speech therapy because the insurance won't pay for it.
It can feel like a lot of hurdles just to get in the system. And I remember going, well, I really would like to have this, but I don't have the time, or when am I going to fill out this paperwork, or I missed some deadline. And then to find out that you have a waiting list that you have to go on, it can get really frustrating.
Don't give up. If one way doesn't work, figure out another way. Expect the best that your child can achieve, and then help them get there.
Again, there's multiple agencies that are out there that can help you. When one door closes, kick down another one. I mean that.
Being shy for things for my son is not going to get us where we need to be.
The good side is that they're getting so much better. They are doing so much more. 6 months ago, Cameron wouldn't tell you her name. She wouldn't walk up to you. She wouldn't talk in class. If she wanted some chips, she would just bring them to you and shake the chips near your head. And now she's, Mommy, I want some chips. Mommy, the sun is up. Mommy, come and get me. I'm ready to start the day. And then she looks for her therapist and she interacts with them and she talks to them and she talks to people she doesn't know. Brandon is just doing so well. He's just doing gangbusters and they're making so much progress.
I want him to be able to reach whatever his full potential is. I want to make sure that I give him the resources that when he's 16, if he has a job someplace, he has that job. If he's living independently, he has that opportunity. And so I just try and make sure that I provide him with the right foundation and the right resources to do as well as he can do.
He is going to graduate this year and he's been accepted at Bethel College, and I am so excited. And I'm amazed at the young man that he is developing into, the young adult, and turning out to be. So I went from my heart being broken to he's gonna be okay. He's gonna be okay.
I really hope that helps somebody out there. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put the young ladies back on the screen. Hold on. I'll put the young ladies back on the screen. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to talk about the signs. Well, I'm not going to talk about. I'm going to play about the signs and the from the child, but I believe that how it stems into adult as well. So maybe it might be different things for adults, but it's about seems like the same, right? And there's also the masking of the autism. Okay, so I'm gonna play this one.
Signs that a child or adult may be autistic. Autism presents differently in different people. The signs that people notice in children and adults are usually consistent with the core characteristics of autism, but this isn't always obvious. For many autistic adults, signs were missed in their childhood. This page contains examples of common signs seen in autistic children and adults. What we mean by signs. Autism presents differently in different people. There is no single way to appear or be autistic because all autistic people are unique, and for this reason there is no definitive sign or list of signs that can tell you whether you, your child or another person is autistic. This page includes a wide range of common signs that people have noticed in autistic children and adults. However, not every autistic person will show every sign. Autism is assessed by clinicians who gather information on multiple signs that must align with the core characteristics of autism in order for a diagnosis to be made. You can find out more about this on our page Criteria and Tools Used for an Autism Assessment. Why can it be helpful to think about signs? The only reliable way to find out whether someone is autistic is through an autism assessment. However, before deciding whether to pursue a diagnosis, or waiting for an assessment, it can be helpful to consider the signs you have noticed. For example, 1. It may be useful to show a list of signs to a GP or another healthcare professional if you want to discuss a referral for an autism assessment with them, or as evidence to prepare for your assessment. 2. You may wish to talk to family, friends, partners, or colleagues about what you have noticed. 3. If you think someone else is autistic and want to discuss this with them, it may be helpful to discuss the signs you have noticed. 4. You may wish to bring it up with a school, further or higher education institution, or at work, particularly to request support before seeking a diagnosis, a process that can take a long time. Autistic people and families often describe a gradual process of light bulb or aha moments, noticing signs that led to them to consider whether they, their child or someone else might be autistic. How do signs relate to the core characteristics of autism? Autism is defined by core characteristics. These are described in medical literature as 1. Social communication and social interaction differences. 2. Restricted and repetitive behaviors and interests, RRBIs, including potential sensory differences. For more information about the core characteristics of autism, visit our page What is Autism? The core characteristics of autism must be present for a diagnosis to be made. However, before an autism assessment, people commonly notice the presence of certain signs in themselves or in others, children or adults, that may suggest they could be autistic. The signs that are noticed are usually consistent with the core characteristics of autism. However, it can be difficult to make this connection if you are not already familiar with autism. Stereotypes about autism can mean that it isn't always easy to spot the signs of autism in someone who doesn't fit the stereotype. Autistic people and their families have highlighted that spotting the signs of autism through the lens of the core characteristics and diagnostic criteria can be complicated for several reasons, including because 1. They are based on what other people can see and their interpretations of behavior, which autistic people may not feel describes their experience. 2. They are written in medical language that can be hard to understand. 3. People can misinterpret signs of autism as signs of something else, such as bad behavior, academic giftedness, or mental illness. 4. They don't account for masking, where a person hides or suppresses their natural autistic characteristics. 5. They may not capture the co-occurrence of related conditions, for example, ADHD. Signs related to the core characteristics. Social interaction and communication. A core characteristic of autism is social interaction and communication differences. Examples of signs that relate to this core characteristic include 1. Limited, delayed, or no speech, including loss of language sometime after learning to speak and avoidance of talking, despite being able to. 2. Using repeated words and phrases, echolalia, made-up words, technical or very literal speech, pauses, and sophisticated or advanced language. 3. Speaking in an unusual accent. 4. Differences in rate of speech, fast/slow, and intonation, monotone/varied. 5. Using fewer gestures or facial expressions to communicate. 6. Preferring not to make eye contact or finding this uncomfortable. 7. Finding it difficult to recognize or read body language or facial expressions. 8. Finding it hard to judge pauses, turn-taking, or to be interrupted during conversations. 9. Being confused by metaphors and idioms, not always understanding hidden meanings or inference and taking phrases literally. 10. Not engaging in a two-way conversation, for example, not asking other people questions about themselves. 11. Mismatching nonverbal and verbal communication, for example, saying they are feeling an emotion, but with body language that doesn't appear to align with that emotion. 12. Seems less aware of others around them, for example, they might not respond to their name being called. 13. Autistic babies and toddlers may not smile when smiled at by others or point when they want to show others something or find something interesting. 14. Find following social rules confusing. 15. Talking in depth about their own interests, but not engaging in others' interests. 16. Being direct and honest in communicating opinions, often more direct and honest than people expect, for example, saying they don't like something when they might have been expected to tell a polite lie. 17. Difficulty telling the difference between someone being friendly or joking and to bully or hurt their feelings. 18. Difficulty imagining experiences they have never had. 19. Having a clear idea of right and wrong, and a strong sense of justice, but may struggle with gray areas or unclear rules. Restricted and repetitive behaviors and interests, RRBIs. A core characteristic of autism is restricted and repetitive behaviors and interests, RRBIs. Many autistic people prefer to call these self-soothing or self-regulating activities. Examples of signs that relate to this core characteristic include 1. A strong preference for routine. 2. Distress when a routine changes. 3. Enjoying order and benefiting from clearly defined rules. 4. Making repetitive movements when excited or upset, for example flapping hands, or making the same noise repeatedly. 5. Using repetitive behaviors as a way of staying calm. 6. Having strong passions and dedicated interests, sometimes known as special interests, for specific subjects/hobbies, that they can engage with intensely. 7. Find engaging in their passions and dedicated interests calming and soothing. 8. Finding it easy to focus on specific interests, but also find it difficult to disengage and move on to other tasks. Sensory differences. Sensory differences are considered part of the core characteristic restricted and repetitive behaviors and interests, RRBIs, because the sensory difference may be expressed in sensory seeking or sensory avoidant behavior that may appear restricted and/or repetitive. Examples of signs that relate to sensory differences include 1. Being much more or much less sensitive to visual stimuli, sounds, smells or touch than other people. 2. Seeking out sensory inputs, including visuals, sounds, smells or tactile stimuli and using them as a comfort. 3. Showing strong distress, aversion, or actively avoiding sources of sensory difficulty. 4. Finding certain sounds, smells, feelings or foods particularly calming or enjoyable, such as colored lights or being tucked tightly into bed. Anxiety and distressed behavior signs. All the signs listed in the sections above can potentially lead to high levels of anxiety and may result in 1. Distressed behavior that may present as aggression, towards yourself/themselves or others. 2. Overwhelm and / or meltdowns, potentially from masking in social situations and needing to release the stress of doing so after returning to a safe space. 3. Difficulties in school / workplace. 4. Appearing withdrawn or finding it difficult to engage with when recovering from social situations, sometimes known as shutdown. 5. Being misunderstood by others. 6. Reaching a point of breakdown, severe mental health difficulties or burnout. Other signs that a person may be autistic. Many autistic people report feeling different from other people of the same or similar age. These are some of the ways they may feel different. 1. Struggling with things that peers don't, for example, socializing or daily tasks. 2. Experiencing things differently from peers. 3. Feeling like an alien and / or they don't fit in with other people. 4. Having to put effort into behaviors that others seem to do automatically, for example, forcing yourself / themselves to make eye contact. 5. Completing tasks in unusual or creative ways. 6. Using coping strategies to make it through the day. 7. Being excluded, bullied, or not fitting in with others. 8. Finding it difficult to have meaningful relationships with people. 9. Finding it more difficult than most to answer interview questions, write CVs / applications and find employment. Making sense of things. Autistic people often feel they can't make sense of certain situations or themselves. This can include 1. Feeling they don't understand how the world works. 2. Not understanding the purpose of some typical social events. 3. Not understanding their own identity or knowing who they are, this may be due to masking. 4. Confusion when there is a lack of structure. A sense of being overwhelmed. A feeling shared by some autistic people is that of being overwhelmed, which can mean everyday tasks can become challenging. This sense of being overwhelmed may include 1. Feeling overwhelmed by anxiety or anger and having difficulty keeping calm in stressful situations. 2. Experiencing distress or panic. 3. Having difficulty transitioning between classes, schools, and further education. 4. Having difficulty engaging with school or being unable to attend school full-time. 5. Having difficulty remaining in employment due to problems maintaining relationships with colleagues and managers or because some workplaces or offices can be overwhelming environments. 6. Struggling with self-harm or suicidal ideation. 7. Feeling lonely and isolated. 8. Struggling with everyday tasks, such as cooking, cleaning, self-care, finances and life admin. Being misunderstood by others. Other people may also appear to misunderstand autistic people. Indications of being misunderstood include 1. Being regarded as a difficult student or employee because you / they do not comply with others' requests or have difficulty engaging. 2. Underachieving in education or in employment compared to what you / they appear to be capable of. 3. Unable to achieve qualifications from school or in further or higher education. 4. Being labeled as gifted, sensitive, or shy. 5. Mental health diagnoses don't fully explain your / their experiences. 6. Mental health services / treatment have been ineffective. Recognizing the signs that a child or young person may be autistic. Parents or carers are often the first to notice the signs that their child or young person may be autistic, but it can also be other family members, friends, or education and health professionals. You may notice that your child 1. Responds differently than other children, for example, responding to their name, responding to sensory stimuli such as light, sound, taste and touch. 2. Doesn't engage with other children. 3. Has additional characteristics, for example, hyperactivity, that were investigated. 4. Loses a skill they once had, for example, loss of speech that had previously developed. 5. Experiences challenges in school. 6. Has mental health issues. Additionally, parents may recognize their family and child's experience reflected in media about autism, such as books and YouTube videos. Be aware that not all information and media about autism is reliable and evidence-based. You should be particularly wary of any source that talks about how to cure or treat autism, which is not possible, and so the source is likely to be unreliable. Read more about.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna play Kofi as well, because she's an adult who had undiagnosed autism. Okay, so I'm gonna play Kofi on right now, because it more or less listed everything that I was actually looking for or gonna say or add to, but I don't need to add to or take away because it's already said. Okay, so I'm gonna play Kofi. Let me play from here.
It's a real issue, and it's not just something that we can brush off. It's something that needs to change. Have you ever, can you even, assuming you're neurotypical, can you imagine what it would be like to have I don't want to say condition. Well, it's a neurological condition. It's not a mental illness. Autism is a neurological condition, so nothing happened to me to make me autistic, but I was born that way. Imagine you're autistic throughout adulthood, throughout childhood, teenage years, and adulthood, especially teenage years. Those were awful. And you don't know. You don't fucking know. That's the worst thing in the world. And it has to change. We have to develop better methods for determining whether adults are autistic and whether children are autistic so that they don't become undiagnosed adults. We need to acknowledge masking on a bigger platform within the psychiatric field, because masking is one of the main reasons for us going undiagnosed, is because we're so good at hiding our autistic traits. Well, masking is a response to trauma, to bullying. It's a response to pain and ostracization. But masking can also keep us safe. And sometimes it is a needed skill. However, defense mechanisms such as masking shouldn't be needed. There shouldn't be adversity because we're autistic. It's something that the world needs to accept. And I want to help. So I'm going to be posting these vlogs. I'm going to be talking about things I go through. And if you are autistic and can relate, or maybe even have ADHD and can relate, because we have a lot of similar symptoms and our diagnoses are comorbid, I would like you to watch as well. I want to be as helpful as I can to this community. I want to be as helpful to autistic Black women, autistic Black people, autistic women, as much as possible. I want to hear your voice, and I want you to hear mine, and I want us to be able to exchange experiences, and I want things to fucking change. Because this can't happen. This has to stop. I found out that I was autistic in the middle of my law school career. That is unacceptable. When my signs were so clearly there. My doctors should have seen it. And it is unfair, and it has to change. But for now, I'm just going to introduce myself since this is my very first video ever. Hello. My name is Kofi. I'm not masking right now. I like to stim. I like to sing and dance, though I don't really dance in front of people because I'm self-conscious about it. It's dangerous for me to get bored, because when I get bored, I I like to spice things up a bit. No, I think you could probably understand that. Or in the way that a child gets bored, they make a mess of something. That's kind of how I am. I kind of always need to be progressing, need to be creating something, need to be playing with something, need to be listening to an audiobook, watching YouTube videos, putting more knowledge into my head. I spend a lot of time maladaptively daydreaming. You may not know what that is, look it up, or we can talk about it later. Maladaptive daydreaming was a big part of my childhood and sometimes still a part of my adulthood, but I don't have the time to maladaptively daydream, so I don't do it as often. I try to not dissociate from the present moment. I try to stay grounded. I spend a lot of time pacing back and forth, thinking about things. I'm not so cocky that I think I can solve all the world's problems, but I think that I feel that I have a duty to try. I once told a professor of mine that I was autistic, and she asked me if I was sure that I was in the right professional field. It really hurt my feelings. And it's not fair because I'm so passionate about what I do. And I have such a strong will. I feel because I'm autistic. Do you even know what autism is? Have you researched it? Have you heard what autism is from autistic people? Or have you watched side of that Sheldon Cooper attorney? Actually, Sheldon Cooper would make a bomb out. I don't know what you're talking about. Even the stereotype be really good at being an attorney. Maybe she can Gilbert Grape or Rain Man. I'm not exactly what stereotype she in her head suggests that I struggle with being an attorney. I struggle being a human. If anyone who can university me. I would like to talk about I struggle with autistic person from day-to-day interactions, face-to-face interactions, texting, calling, I hate the phone, friendships, relationships, dating, sex.
Oh, sorry about that. It must be time for me to come off. Maybe that's what it's telling me, because wait till right to the end to actually do that. So this young lady, she found out she got diagnosed late, but she did become a lawyer. So I just want to show her what she's done, what she's really done. You know what I'm saying? To show that how they can achieve big. They can be like as Miss Weiss said, they can excel. She literally became a lawyer. You see, I could find one of her being a lawyer or being part of the lawyer. I'm hoping you can hear me, because it might zoot out a little bit because it's playing up now, so it's indicating to me that I might have to get off. So let me see if I can find one where she's past the bar. Cause I think that'll be more like, you know, Let me see if it's so gonna find it. Oh, it's not taking to find. Hold on, let me find it this other way. If it's gonna take long, I would leave it. I'll just put up a small video of her if I have to do that. Is it gonna come? Come on. It's about him dating. Nah, we don't want that. Okay, let's see if I can find it. Let's finish on a nice note. Okay. So I'm gonna show Kofi. I think she's just doing her TikTok of her talking about her. She don't really talk about her, but she is a lawyer. She has passed the bar. Okay, I repeat again. She's intellectual as well. So I'm gonna show this, and then I think I'm gonna leave it right there in case my thing decides to split on me again. It's playing me. It's not playing.
Lawyers and attorneys. So comment if you want to be put in the group chat for autistic lawyers and attorneys or future lawyers and attorneys. Comment or message me and I'll put you in the Discord.
Whereas I refer to it as a discussion to help you understand that
it's come to my attention that there are many autistic individuals who are interested in law school or who are in law school.
So yeah, I was gonna play more like the masking because I feel the masking is one of the important ones in all of this, which both women has brought up. When my daughter have a conversation and she said the women who mostly mask, and I think Cassie mentioned that, but I might just play it. I'm gonna play it. The masking part.
Masking. Masking is a strategy used by some autistic people, consciously or unconsciously, to appear non-autistic. While this strategy can help them get by at school, work, and in social situations, it can have a devastating impact on mental health, sense of self, and access to an autism diagnosis. What is masking? Masking is a strategy used by some autistic people, consciously or unconsciously, to appear non-autistic in order to blend in and be more accepted in society. Masking can happen in formal situations such as at school or work and in informal situations such as at home with family or socializing with friends. Masking is sometimes referred to as camouflaging, social camouflaging, compensatory strategies and passing. Research suggests autistic people learn how to mask by observing, analyzing and mirroring the behaviors of others, in real life or on TV, in films, books, etc. Autistic people have described masking as 1. Hypervigilance for and constant adaptation to the preferences and expectations, whether expressed, implied, or anticipated, of the people around you. 2. Tightly controlling and adjusting how you express yourself, including your needs, preferences, opinions, interests, personality, mannerisms, and appearance, based on the real or anticipated reactions of others, both in the moment and over time. Examples of this, which may be done consciously or unconsciously, include 1. Using facial expressions, perhaps by mirroring others, that wouldn't come naturally to you. 2. Forcing yourself to make eye contact or monitoring how much eye contact you are making. 3. Changing speech or tone of voice, for example by using less direct phrasing, or being more or less animated. 4. Suppressing, reducing, or hiding stimming, such as hand flapping or echolalia, or switching to less noticeable stims such as playing with a pen. 5. Reducing visible reactions to sensory sensitivities, for example being very sensitive to touch but not flinching or wincing when someone shakes your hand. 6. Planning in advance what you want to say to someone, known as scripting, which you may or may not find difficult to adapt in the moment based on their responses. 7. Asking more questions than you may be comfortable with or interested in. 8. Not sharing interests due to a concern that they may be perceived as inappropriate or unusual, for example due to the person's age. 9. Mirroring dress sense and other elements of appearance.
That's when
a lot of us present different versions of ourselves in different situations, that's normal. But masking is to rewrite every fiber of your being to suit the situation you are in and what is perceived to be normal behavior and reactions. When I am masking, the vast majority of my brain function is going to that masking. It is taking almost all of my mental energy to just stay in absolute control and only let through the behaviors that are acceptable in that situation. Rosie Weldon, Autism and Masking. I've noticed that part of masking can involve making very exaggerated facial expressions because I'm trying to mirror them in some way, over-animated conversations, putting in a lot of energy to the conversation, especially if I'm tired. I find I actually put more energy in to compensate, because otherwise I wouldn't give that back and forth that they'd want. Yo Samdi Sam, Autistic Masking and Unmasking. I would always have to ask for every single person who's going to be at a social event, because I can't know how to mask and script if I don't know who I'm going to be talking to and interacting with. If I felt like these factors were not solidified, I most likely didn't go to the social interaction because I just didn't know what I was preparing myself for, and that made me really anxious. Irene, how do I know I'm masking? Although there may be elements of masking that seem familiar to everyone, such as changing how you present yourself in certain formal situations, autistic people have emphasized that masking is different to this. Masking is described as making efforts to manually act in ways that come naturally to non-autistic people, to meet social expectations and blend into society through exhausting effort that can lead to autistic burnout and other mental health issues. Especially for people who discover their autistic identity later in life, it is common to have masked unconsciously for many years, meaning it can be difficult for those people to know what kind of a person they would have been and what interests and characteristics they would have allowed themselves to develop if they hadn't suppressed their autistic traits and natural instincts throughout their life.
Okay.
As explored in the impact of masking section below, this can lead to an identity crisis and loss of a sense of self.
Okay.
Why do autistic people mask? Autistic people mask for a variety of reasons, including 1. To be accepted in society. 2. To avoid prejudice, stigma, bullying and discrimination. 3. To blend in or pass in a neurotypical world. 4. To meet social expectations and avoid social rejection. 5. To hide discomfort in environments that are not autism friendly, for example because they don't want to cause a fuss or inconvenience others, or because they may not be believed and/or expect to be told they are being dramatic or over the top. 6. A lack of acceptance or accommodation of autistic characteristics. 7. To compensate for the social and communication differences between autistic and non-autistic people, known as the double empathy problem, especially when non-autistic communication styles and preferences are assumed to be the correct way. 8. To cope at school and avoid negative attention or punishment, for example for moving around or stimming. 9. To improve employment opportunities and keep jobs. 10. To make and maintain friendships and relationships. 11. Because it has become routine or subconscious. Masking happens.
I think I got to talk about the stemming because, like, that's a thing that keeps coming up a lot. The stemming part. Let's see if I can find the stemming. So we know what it looks like as well. Okay. So stemming or self-stimulation behavior is repetitive action. That is a key symptom of autism spectrum disorders. It can involve physical movement, sounds, words, or other behaviors. Autistic people are stemming to manage excess energy and self-soothing. It's what they said before. So some examples of stemming include body movement, vocal noises, visual stimulation, what do they call it? Smells and objects. So what's it called? Olfactory stimulation, auditory stimulation, which is flicking rubber bands. I've seen somebody do that actually. Vocal noises, repeating words, phrases, and sounds. Visual stimulation, staring at lights, spinning objects. So this is what helps them with stemming. Include exercise, physical activities can release tension and reduce stemming. Environmental adjustments, occupational therapies can help with environmental adjustments to support your autistic child. Replace unsafe stemming. If child stemming is hurting them or other people, a health professional can help replace an unsafe stems with safer alternatives. So they also talk about the hand flapping stemming in autism. So if you have seen a child and they're flapping their hands or they're making the noise, I think I've seen a autism child try to walk off like in a chip shop, and the caregiver had to get up and bring him back and sit him back down for him to eat and make sure he eat. He kept getting up and he kept moving out, but because people are unaware of what's going on, and you know, in most cultures that they just look. So the caregiver had to get up, bring the boy back to the counter for him to eat, because he kept getting up. The door was open to the chip shop or the takeaway, and he was about to walk outside, and he grabbed him by the coat and he escorted them back to the seat, sat him back down. So I've seen that for myself. I've also seen one where the caregiver, where the child is stemming or something, I think it's stemming, and they give him something to do. Say, okay, like, so what do you want to do? Now, there are various activities. Autistic people, special needs, disabled people, however you want to term it, they love doing stuff. I've been around them myself too. They love gardening, they love drawing, they love doing a lot of stuff. you know. Disabled people now, there is not severe disabled, because they'll probably term autism as disabled, but then when you are around them, it's a different energy. It's a whole different energy. I know in some of the social medias they show children pushing TVs over and using it like, okay, it's autism, but some parents do actually sort that out, you know, diffuse the situation and get the child to do what it's supposed to do. So after a while, I think they learn how to deal with the child. Now, I've put in for my one because I think she does the masking thing, but she does show signs herself of autism herself. So it's one of those where, like, you have to have understanding, and I think as a parent you have to see how they are gonna what he look like when they're older. What does he look like when they're older? Like the coping mechanism, how they're gonna deal with certain stuff, because they're very different children. Like they would look at something and they will describe you stuff. They will tell you something they just seen. So there's that. They love attention. They love attention. They do mask it very well. Yes, they do mask it very well. Some people literally, like this lady, don't find out till later on. They got all different things going on. They got autism going on. They got learning disabilities going on. They got this going on. They got that going on. So I have empathy for people like this. I have empathy for people like this, and this is one of the reasons why when I thought she was Kofi, which is the other two pictures, but it's actually a different person. It's Cassie. So Cassie seems also have made it as well, but I don't know whether she said her name was Cassie for that particular YouTube channel, but she looks like Kofi to me. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. I just like how they are able to manage, and they manage their autism and how they manage to put it into life, trying to deal with life situations, trying to deal with the antisocial situations. Some people will never talk about this. They'll probably keep it under wraps because they don't want to be seen as weird and different and this and that and the other. Like the masking one says, they will take on other people's personalities. Cassie said that how she was taking on other people's personalities, and she realized that how she wasn't comfortable with that. She just had to be herself because she wanted to fit in social environments or be around people. And even the one where the girl didn't like her for whatever reason, that she hit her, like, you know. So I just thought I'd bring this to my channel because I've never really covered autism on a whole. I think I've covered mental health. I've covered menopause. I can't remember the other one, abuses. So this one for me is educational, not only for you guys, it's educational for me, because then even though I do have an empathy side to me anyway. So once I know certain signs, which I have done, I recognize it right away, and I don't stare at the child who has the autism. I don't stare at them or the man, because I say to myself, oh yeah, well, they must have autism, or they must have this, or they must have that, because it must be 5 out of the things that you're thinking that is the problem. So, and also what I like is that how they are able, they get in treatments, they get speech therapy, they get behavioral therapy, they are able to give them what they need. But it's whether parents or caregivers find out what they need. And even the lady said You don't even need to be in a certain position so that you can give your child that help. So as well, and that's why I like about Kofi, because Kofi definitely has excelled beyond her so-called disability. Like becoming a lawyer, that's huge. Becoming a lawyer, where like you got to learn about forensic, you got to learn about, right, you have forensic in your face, you have this in your face. You have to be able to listen to clients. You have to be able to also be in courts. That's a huge thing. That is huge in my eyes anyway. And I love to see people excel and become the greatness that they are. So I'm hoping if whether it's Cassie or Kofi that's in the middle, because I'm thinking that's Kofi that I put in the middle, but I'm hoping I will see Cassie again in another video, another place, because I want to know what she's doing now. However long ago they did that interview, I would love to know what she's doing now. I really love to know whether she got past what she got past. I think she also said she's a lawyer as well. But like I said, please leave a comment underneath the video. I might do a little bit on the signs, but I might just record it and put it up. Okay, because I feel the signs is more complex as well. So thank you for coming through. And as it's very early in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, I got to catch up on some shut eye. Thank you, Ebony, for coming through. Mind's Eye, Planet Mimi, Passion Lisa, and Miss Wise. And I'll see you in the next one. I do have a playlist which I'm going to put together for social issues, because these are part of the social issues as well. The video the live I did earlier of the women in the protesting, speaking their story. I thought speaking their stories was more important. So I thought I put that bit up. I didn't feel that you lot need to hear the other bits of it. I did see that it cuts off certain stuff, but it's okay as long as you heard their story. Please comment underneath their story, put hearts underneath their story, and I hope that they get the help what they need. And I hope that what is given to them, the person who's giving it to them, have a purest heart when dealing with it. Because this lady spoke what they went through. And this was earlier today when I did that live of them in the park. Though that's an old protest, but apparently I think they did one today. So with that said, I will see you. Hold on, I'll see you. Hold on, let me find it. I will see you in the next live, and take care and have a good day, and always keep learning about people. You have to learn about people. Yes, sometimes, right, you might get a bit ignorant and you might think, oh my god, that one's weird or whatever. We all do it. But I think once you find out and you learn more about different things, like you get to a little bit of acceptance, and you are able to put yourself in situations where you can help people who is in that situation. So with that said, I will see you later. Take care. Bye.